Today's guest is Matthew Cook, founder and CEO of Bird's Eye Surveillance. Matthew is a husband, father of 2 boys, entrepreneur, and someone deeply committed to serving and protecting others through the work he does every single day. Over the last 7 years, he's built a business focused on helping businesses, communities, and families stay safe while creating opportunities for others along the way. Matthew, welcome to the Level Up and Live podcast, brother.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. So Matt, we're sitting in a coffee shop like we've done before, just having a full-blown conversation. Before Bird's Eye Surveillance existed 7 years ago, who was Matthew Cook?
I was just a guy trying to figure out what he wanted to do in this world. I was single, wasn't married, no kids yet, back then. Just trying to make ends meet and figure out what problems there were in the world and what I could solve, It's kind of where it started. I was working in the jail as a detention officer for Montgomery County, seeing all the people come in and out, all the issues that you always see, It's kind of shaped me into what I am today.
What first sparked your interest in criminal justice? Because you said you worked at the jail, and I knew that about you, in protecting others. What sparked your interest?
Yeah, I think just the wanting to serve, before any of that, when I was getting out of high school, I wanted to go military. I tried every branch, and unfortunately, I have a medical issue, so they wouldn't let me in. So, I found that brotherhood, I think, working for the sheriff's department and the jail division, kind of having that same brotherhood as a lot of the military guys have, a team working together to help the community. And I liked that, but I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do something, I think, for myself, maybe to be able to provide more for others. So I found that need for law enforcement, if some sort. That's where I thought I was going to go. And, I was going to be either a DPS officer or a CBP officer. Took the test, made like a 97 on it. And I was going to go to that. Then COVID happened and kind of stepped back and found a different path.
Yeah, speaking of that, you could have pursued that traditional path in law enforcement. COVID happened. When did you realize entrepreneurship, being a business owner, might allow you to create an even bigger impact? Because you had kind of alluded to it earlier.
Yeah, I felt like when I was in the jail, just where I was at, that I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do. And I felt like, I guess I'm more of a leader type. I feel like I could take control of a situation and I can do good with something. And I needed to take reins, take hold of those reins and be able to figure it out for myself. And I think owning a business is the best way to do that because you have full control of how you proceed and what you do,
Would you say there's a defining moment in that journey where you knew and you thought to yourself, this is what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, really and honestly, it was probably sitting on my knees praying to God at night, trying to figure out what am I gonna do? What's my purpose? I wasn't fulfilling it every day at the jail. I'd get out of the jail from work and I felt like I needed to do more. And then when we kind of started this business, me and my partners, I felt like a weight lifted off of me that I was actually able to do more and become more. I felt like I was built for more than just working every day, 9 to 5,
Yeah. And when you started Bird's Eye 7 years ago, you prayed, God opened up your heart, put one foot in front of the other. What did you think entrepreneurship was going to be and look like for you in your life?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. Growing up, my family were entrepreneurs. I had a stepfather that was a owner operator of a huge, for me, it was big. It was a car care and collision center. He owned a Kingwood car care, Tascasita car care. So growing up, I saw the work ethic and saw the kind of life that you can have and what you could do and create. And I already knew it was going to be tough. I knew when I was a kid, we had a daycare built into our own office so they could go to work and we could be there. So I knew it was tough, but I like challenges. And I think the challenge was good for me, to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, get comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Now, we're going through entrepreneurship and really rolling up your sleeves, getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable. What has it actually taught you after reflecting back after 7 years?
Yeah, it's taught me to be very responsible, to that when I say something, I do it, and there's no one else to lead me to that, to result that I want. I have to do it for myself. I build a team around me to help me get to those goals. I can't do it alone. My partners, we all have our thing that we do to provide and bring to the table. But also, when we founded this company, it was just really just us. And then I was the only one who went full time because I could afford to do so at that time. My wife took a risk with me, and we did it. And I didn't have any. I went from that brotherhood in the jail with all these other detention officers and all these people around me, the sergeants, and I went from that to just me and nobody to hold me accountable. I was alone, so I had to build my own team to kind of have my own people around me to help, and that was a big deal. So.
What was that experience like? Because I know a lot of our listeners and leaders listening to this, they have their girlfriend or they have spouses, husband and wife, and in business together. What was that experience like for you and your wife in starting that business and taking that leap of faith?
Going from a steady paycheck to you never know. You know what I mean? That is tough. And I wasn't. Well, it's not like I packed away 50 grand to do it. I was 21 years old, 22. Yeah, 21, 22, trying to figure it out. And it's good to have someone there beside you who's willing to take that risk. I got married right when this all kind of took off. So fresh into getting married, I have a house already. I have bills, and I was like, this is what I need to survive. This is my basic. I broke it down to the bare minimum of survival. And as long as I can make that happen, then I have a chance to do what I want to do. And I think a lot of people are scared to take that risk because it is scary. It's uncomfortable, but it's worth it. Anything worth doing is tough.
What kept you going? What kept you getting up every single day? Was there something going through your mind? Was there somebody supporting you? Was there somebody kicking you in the rear end? Like, what was going through your mind every single day in the last 7 years in building this thing?
I think it was just not wanting to let anybody down, to let myself down. I took a challenge and I don't want to lose. I'm a competitive person. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to figure it out. There's always a way. There's a problem and you have to solve the problem. That's what being a business owner is there's lots of problems in this world, and just find a problem and find a solution and figure it out.
What was one of the hardest seasons in the last 7 years of your life where you questioned whether this business was going to work out? Because we all have those days. And I'm curious on your hardest season where you questioned whether this business is it going to work out?
Yeah, I would say, when I got in this business, there wasn't as much competition. And then I've seen over the past 7 years, there's several other companies that have gotten in the business, or maybe I didn't know about them until I got bigger. And it's scary to see that there's people out there who are doing it right too, but there's always ways to make it better. And I think that I saw that, it's challenging and it's scary, but I think I can figure it out. And, I've had days where, we've grown and we got payroll that's pretty large, and it's pretty scary when it comes out. I think it just leads me to want to do better and make more money. And also now I have a team that relies on us coming here and making this work. It's not just me anymore. It's not me and my wife. It's me, my partners. It's my workers, my employees. We're like a family, and I want to make sure everybody has a job. Everybody's here every day. They're putting in the time. So I want to make sure it works out for everybody,
Yeah. Knowing that you have a huge payroll and you have other partners, you have families to feed, you have, in running this payroll, that's your responsibility, that's your duty, that's your obligation as a leader. How do you manage that, brother? That stress, that anxiety, that struggle every single day? Like, what do you do? Because I know people listening to this are resonating with that.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing, and it's a scary thing. And I think it never really goes away. You can make more money, but when you make more money, now you need more employees. You need more, you're always growing. I think it's part of it, and it's always going to be there in the back of your mind. I think that I just try to take every day as it comes. And, and what happens is it's like trying to be a doctor, go to school. If you look at trying to get your doctorate, it's impossible. But if you just take steps every day to get there, it's accomplishable. You're going to accomplish it. So I think I just have goals set, and every week we have meetings. We meet with our drivers, we meet with our supervisors and everybody in the team, and make sure everybody's ideas correlate with what we have going on. We have, our values, and just make sure everybody's on the same page. And never ignore your employees. If there's something that someone says, or there's an idea, maybe there's something to that, listen to them. They've been here every day. They're doing it. They might have a better way to do it.
What leadership lesson do you wish someone had taught you 5 years earlier going into this?
I'm a very straight to it person. So when I come in the office, I've already been thinking about it the whole way here. And I come in and I'm straight to, hey, here's what needs to get done. Here's what I got going on. And I think I've learned that you need to understand everybody's got stuff going on in their day. So maybe come in and be a little lighter, be more personable, talk to your people, you talk to your employees, just get to know everybody, make sure everybody had a good weekend, and then slowly get into stuff. Don't just go straight into it. I think that I could have learned a little more on how to be more personable. I'm very straight to it. I think that's one of my flaws, but it's a strength too.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, vulnerability is one of the things I resonate with what you're saying. Like, let's get into it. Let's put everything else, emotions, feelings to the side. We got business to take care of. But as you know, leading people, you have to meet them where they are and be vulnerable. So that's great advice, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah.
As the company's grown, and I know it has some of the things that you've shared behind the scenes over the years, what value has become completely non-negotiable for you personally?
Yeah. The biggest value that I want to bring to the table is that we're honest, to our customers. If you start out this game and you're lying to people, you're telling people stuff that's not true, that's just bad business and it's going to catch you in the long run. I've learned that when I tell someone something, they're holding me to it. They're going to stick to it, so I've learned to just be honest with everyone and myself too. And just, that's the best way to go about business.
Love that. One thing I admire about business owners is we're building businesses when and while simultaneously we are building families, trying to take care of our health, our relationships, our spiritualities. I'm curious with you, man, what kind of husband are you striving to be while also building your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I think I try to just be a man of Christ. I go to church on Sunday. Not that you have to, but I think it's really healthy for me. I try to tell everyone, hey, just go to a church Sunday with your family. Sit down, listen to a message. It may resonate with you. There's weeks that life's perfect. It feels like, and I think I'm a good husband. I'm taking care of my family. The bills are paid. And then there'll be times where I feel that maybe I'm neglecting my kids and my wife because I'm so focused on working, and all I can think about is what's next. What do I need to do better? How can I make more money? And I've just kind of sat back a little bit since I have 2 kids and a wife now. Like, that's really what matters in the long run. Is all this is great. This gets you through life, and you're happy, and you be successful. Everybody wants to be successful, and that is good for me. But in reality, God and family, all that's the most important to me. So really, just taking care of my family, being the best man I can be.
Yeah, you had mentioned your 2 boys, and I'm curious, when you mentioned that, kind of struck a nerve. What kind of father are you striving to be for your boys?
I'm trying to be a father who listens. I'm there, present. That's a big deal because sometimes I'm working and I'm on my phone and I'm there. I'm at the house. I've got time to be at home. I could pick them up early from work or from daycare or school. And I found myself stuck working, focused on things that probably don't need to be focused on at that moment. There's always a time and place for everything. And I've learned to separate some work with family, a little bit. It's hard when when it's your business, it's your baby, but your babies are more important. If I'm not doing right at home, how can I do right at work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you mean. Now, when your boys become adults, maybe they even listen to this episode when they do become adults, what do you hope they remember most about watching you build this company?
I hope they remember that I'm passionate. I care about what I'm doing. I don't want to just do something to do it. The reason I did this was because I had passion. I cared about it. So I hope that they find something that they want to do, and they see that, just like I saw my stepfather. He loved what he did. He woke up every day and he was happy. When he went to work, he was doing everything he could do to be the best he could be, and that's what I hope my kids see. I don't want them to just see, oh, Matt, my dad made a lot of money. He did good. He has something to show for it. That doesn't matter to me. It's cool. But what matters is they see how I did it, my character toward it.
Has becoming a father changed the way you lead your business as well?
Oh, yeah. It's made me a stronger person for sure. And also probably a more patient person, because kids definitely can test you. And I've learned to be patient, and the same as my employees. I've got many guys here who they're still learning and make mistakes. And it's just like your kids are going to make mistakes, and you have to lead them, and maybe not just get straight on them. And it's not their fault. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe I didn't teach them correctly. Same as my kids. I need to teach them the correct ways to do things before I can just get upset. So
now you spent years helping protect businesses, job sites, and communities in growing this business. I'm curious, what have you learned about people through that journey and helping them protect what matters most?
yeah, well, what I've learned through this journey is that there's a lot of people out there who want to take from others. It's always going to be a thing. And, there's a lot of vulnerable people out there who are building their businesses, whether it's a residential construction company or a commercial company. And not everybody's a huge corporate company. I've got a lot of mom and pop companies, and I've got a lot of big corporation companies I work with. And I think that everyone's a little different, but at the end of the day, they want the result of being secure and feeling peace of mind. They have somebody who's honest, who's watching their property, who's doing the best they can do and providing a good service. A lot of my clients, they call me on a weekly basis or text me personally and just, hey, how's it going? Or, just we're friends. We're not just, they're not just clients. So that's a big deal for me.
I love that. Now, when you think about the next chapter of your life and in business, this next phase, this next journey, what excites you most?
I think the path of the unknown, because every day I'm trying to figure out what my day's going to look like or what my month's going to look like, what we're going to do this year, the numbers, projections and stuff. I think it's really fun to really overdo it. I dream. I'm a dreamer. So, I want to make the best of what we have, and I want to always make it better. I want to make everyone happy, and that's hard to do. But, I think we've got a lot of people here who've been here a while and they're happy. We try to make our employees want to stay here and work with us and grow with us because we have ambition to be the best. So I think that really I want to be the best that we can be.
You have a Matthew Cook, the old version of you 7 years ago, that is wanting to leave his job, start up in his new entrepreneurship journey, that financial freedom, that time freedom. He's listening to this podcast right now. What is that one thing that you tell him?
That it's going to be challenging. It's going to test you and you're going to want to give up all the time. There's going to be people who tell you that don't quit your day job. I heard that a lot. Don't quit your day job. They're just scared. People, there's a reason not everyone does this. It's because it is scary. I think just do it and be happy and take more time to enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Oh, such good advice, man. All right. We're in a rapid fire round. And this is one of our favorite parts of the episode. A lot of our listeners love this. So the instructions are simple. I'm going to ask you a question. Keep it short and sweet. One answer to the question. Okay?
Okay.
Best business book you've ever read?
Best business book I've ever read. I wasn't a big reader until recently, so I don't want to lie on that. I really haven't read a lot of books.
That's okay. What have you read recently?
Stand Tall. I can't think of what it's called right now. Stand Tall, Be a Man.
Okay. Favorite family vacation?
Greece.
One lesson fatherhood has taught you?
Patience.
One lesson entrepreneurship has taught you?
Time.
Biggest challenge business owners face today?
It's just supposed to be one word, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Growth.
One habit that has improved your life?
Meditating.
What are you most excited about over the next 3 years?
Learning.
Final question. When people look back on Matthew Cook's life in 30 years from now, what do you hope they remember most about you, brother?
Faith-driven.
Guys, I hope today's conversation reminded you that success isn't just about building a business. It's about building a life, serving people, leading your family well, and creating an impact that lasts far beyond your career. Matthew, brother, thank you for sharing your story, opening up today, and being vulnerable. I know it was nothing but value today. Your heart for serving others does not go unnoticed, man. So I appreciate your journey, appreciate you saying yes for being on the show, and appreciate all of our listeners for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean.
Of course. Keep leveling up.